second verse also you have down, but just need to refine it a little bit. Okay, so let's get started with our chapter 3. So I think people are occupied today because of the Thanksgiving weekend, long weekend, but we'll continue. Let's quickly review the flow of chapter 3. I will just spend a few minutes on it. So chapter 3, Karma Yoga, opened with Arjuna's question that whether to work or renounce the work. Should I act or should I give up this work and become a renunciate? So Krishna said, yes, there are two types of people. One that follow Karma Yoga or that work and thus purify themselves through the work, or other people that are renunciates, that are Gyan Yogi, they renounce work. So he said, but for you, it's Karma Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga is what I recommend for now, because work is very important. And then from verse 4 to 8, so verse 1 to 2 is Arjuna's question. Verse 3 and 4, verse 3, Krishna talks about two types of people. And verse 4 to 8, Krishna talks about why work is important. So he gave reasons for working. Like soul is very active in nature. It has acquired certain qualities or certain tendencies that it needs to engage. Or if you just give up work superficially or artificially, prematurely, then internally you will still be attached to the action of your senses and action of your mind, and internally you will still be attached, and outside you will be pretending to be a detached person or a renunciate. That's not recommended because that's a pretender, that's a mithyachari person, a charlatan meditator. So do not become a charlatan. So he said, so in this way he gave many reasons why work is important. Work is important also to maintain your body and soul together. All these things he gave some reasons. From verse 4 to 8, Krishna gave some reasons why work needs to be done in this world. Then verse 9 was the key verse, which I told you is a memory verse. This verse 9, Krishna talks about how work should be done as a yajna. This verse is the Nishkam Karma Yoga. Okay, it talks about Nishkam Karma Yoga, where how work should be done as a sacrifice or as a service to the Lord. In the mood, how we perform a yajna, how we offer everything into the yajna. Similarly, work should be done as an offering to the Lord. And that type of work will free you, whereas work done with attachment to the results will bind you and tangle you. So this is the principle of Nishkam Karma Yoga. So this is the only verse that will talk about Nishkam Karma Yoga for a while. And then Krishna basically uses this to launch into the discussion about yajnas or about sacrifices. So he said, I'm saying do work as a sacrifice, but actually sacrifice or yajna is a facility created by me from the beginning of creation. At the very beginning of creation, I created this resource, I created this facility by which attached people that are not Nishkam Karma Yogi, but rather people that are attached to their results, those people can purify themselves also. Okay, I will draw and write and try to simplify these concepts in a little bit. But I'm just right now reviewing the flow of chapter 3 that we have covered so far. So he launched into discussion about yajnas. What is yajna? How they are important, how they please demigods, how they are basically a gratitude to the demigods for the proper functioning of this creation, this cosmic creation. And Prabhupada tells us that this type of yajnas are basically a purification of work by karmkandi people, people that are attached to the results. This is not what we are talking about. This is not the principles of Nishkam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. These are the principles followed by Karma Kandi people. They have to purify their activities because they are just acting for their sense gratification. So they need to purify them by doing some ritualistic Vedic ceremonies like yajnas. Okay. So this is from verse 10 to 16. Krishna talks about how these yajnas are prescribed in Vedas and they should be performed by people that are attached to the results. Then from verse 17 onwards, we have to do today. 17 to 20, Krishna will talk about who are the type of people that may not work. So before he said, you should be working, you should be following Nishkam Karma Yoga, you should be doing work in the form of a sacrifice. But there are people who do not need to work. Who are those people? Let's talk about them. So this is where we have to start today. From verse 17, who are the people that need not work? I gave you a very brief overview of this last time. So today we will go a little bit faster from verse 17 to 20. So let's do 17. Yastva atma ratir eva syad.
Yastva atma ratireva
Eva
syad.
syad.
Atma triptascha manava.
Atma
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 triptascha
triptascha
manava.
manava.
Atmaneva cha santushtas. Atmaneva cha
Atmaneva cha
Atmaneva cha
santushtas.
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 Tasya karyam na vidyate.
Tasya
Tasya
karyam na
karyam na
vidyate.
vidyate.
Can somebody read the translation?
I can.
Yes.
But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty.
Okay, so you can continue after this, Nagarchan Prabhu. I'm just going to focus on the Sanskrit for a second. So Krishna has used several terms for a self-realized soul. Basically, in this verse, he's saying that a self-realized soul, a pure soul, somebody who has pure consciousness, need not work. And he has used several words for such a person. One is Atmaratir. Rati means to take pleasure. So Atmaratir means somebody who takes pleasure in self. So he's very internally situated. He's very grounded, internally oriented person. He's taking pleasure in self. Okay. He's not getting pleasure from external things or material objects or these other pleasures of the world that influence ordinary people. He's internally situated. Atmaratir. Atma Triptas, and he is self illuminated. Prabhupada has translated it as self illuminated, meaning a self realized soul. Okay, Triptas, like completely tript or santushtas. Also, he's saying another word, same similar meaning. Atmani eva cha santushta. In the Atma, in the self, he's completely satisfied. So he's completely satisfied with self, takes pleasure in the self, and completely self illuminated, self realized. Tasya karyam na vidyate. For such a person, there is no work to be done. There is no duty, there is no prescribed duty or responsibility for such a person. For him, Krishna says there is no duty. Okay, yes, Nagarjun.
Purport. A person who is fully Krishna conscious and is fully satisfied by his acts in Krishna consciousness no longer has any duty to perform. Due to his being Krishna conscious, all impiety within is instantly cleansed, an effect of many, many thousands of yajna performances. By such clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal position in relationship with the Supreme. His duty thus becomes self illuminated by the grace of the Lord, and therefore he no longer has any obligations to the Vedic injunctions. Such a Krishna conscious person is no longer interested in material activities and no longer takes pleasure in material arrangements like wine, women, and similar infatuations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think this is clear. Fully self realized soul no longer has a duty to perform. Prabhupada is saying. So this person is very pure in consciousness. So these are the qualifications. Um, he is perfectly situated in eternal relationship with Krishna. So this is important. We are still exploring our relationship with Krishna, right? Our faith is very fickle. It keeps dwindling. We are still very externally oriented. We are still taking pleasure in a lot of things of this world. We are still very much attached to external things. But this person is very detached. He has knowledge, complete knowledge of his relationship with Supreme, eternally, fully confident of his eternal position. This is very important. So basically, his faith is very strong. And so Krishna basically gives him intelligence from within on what duty he needs to perform and what he does not need to do in this world. So by grace of the Lord, his duty becomes self-illuminated. Therefore, he no longer has any obligations to Vedic injunctions. So he need not do all those yagyas that Krishna was talking about before, because those were meant for purification of our work, for purification of our of activities of those people who are attached, who are still working for the results, who are doing fruitive activities. Whereas this person is whatever he's doing in complete Krishna consciousness. He's doing it completely for the pleasure of the Lord. He's not attached to either the work or to the results. and he has no obligations to these Vedic injunctions. We cannot make such claim. We are not that pure. We are not self-realized. We are not confident of our relationship with the Supreme. All these things. We are still interested in material activities. But this Krishna conscious person is no longer interested in material activities. He has no enjoy tendency. He has no material desires. He has no anarthas, no external engagements or attractions to fulfill him. So such a person, for him, there is no duty. Next couple of verses will make this, will solidify this point even more, from 17 to 19. So let's keep going. नैव तस्या कृतेनार्थो नैव तस्या कृतेनार्थो न कृते नेह कश्चन न कृते नेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिद् अर्थव्यपाश्रया
Kashchid artha vyapashya.
Please read this one.
Kashchid artha vyapashraya.
Translation, can someone read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mata.
Okay. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living entity. Purport.
Yeah.
A self-realized man is no longer obliged to perform any prescribed duty save and except activities in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not inactivity either, as will be explained in the following verses. A Krishna conscious man does not take shelter of any person, man or demigod. Whatever he does in Krishna consciousness is sufficient in the discharge of his obligation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So three things Krishna has mentioned here. A self-realized person, number one, he has no purpose in discharge of duties, right? Because other people, they have a lot of obligations. They have a lot of enjoyments they have to, engage in, sense gratification, so many things they want from this world. So they're attached, if nothing, even if they're not attached to the results, they're attached to the work itself. So, but a self-realized person has no purpose to fulfill, okay, by discharge of the duties, number one. Number one, nor has he any reason not to perform such work. So if he was required to do that work for some reason, for something, he does not have any reason to say no. Okay. He has no reason to not perform such work. Third thing, nor has he any need to depend on any other living beings. No dependence on others. So these are, so basically he's a very self-reliant, or you can say self-reliant, or actually a Krishna conscious person is completely surrendered to Krishna. Think about somebody, think about a renunciator sannyasi. If he's completely Krishna conscious, if he's completely dependent on Krishna for his maintenance, he's not depending on any other living entity for his maintenance. So if he was assigned some work by Supreme Lord, he will do that. If he was taken away from that work, that's also okay. So either way, he's completely dependent on Krishna. Last time I discussed this point towards the very end, that when we say he has no reason or no purpose to fulfill, right? We are talking about no material purpose, no material reason to fulfill. So when Krishna says he has no purpose to fulfill by discharge of his duties, nor does he have any reason, it means no material reason. Okay, please understand this. And we discussed this last time, but just again emphasizing this point. When he works, he does not work for a material purpose or material reason. He works for satisfaction of Krishna. When he does not work, it's not because of some material reason that he does not work. Okay. Unlike us, unlike ordinary people, let's say, talk about me, for example, if I'm working, I may be working for a material reason, maybe because it gives me money, it gives me position or status, or, you know, time pass ke liye, whatever. For some material reason, I'm working. Okay. If I'm not working, that is also for some material reason, because I'm frustrated with my work, because my work is too hard, because people are not nice, some material reason why I'm not working. When Krishna says a self-realized person has no purpose to fulfill by working, no reason to not work. So that means no material reason to work or not work. Okay. So you can also correlate this with Arjun. Arjun was trying to act like a very ordinary person. He was giving all the material reasons for why he should not fight in this war. Okay, so he was giving reasons like these people will die, or there will be, so all these excuses that he gave, all those excuses were basically bodily reasons or material reasons, superficial, short-term reasons. So that's why his reasons for not working were sort of like running away. Okay. But a self-realized person's detachment should not be confused with running away. If he's detached, it does not mean running away. That's why Prabhupada is clarifying here, Krishna consciousness is not inactivity either. So when he's working for Krishna or not working, that is also for Krishna. He's detached in all circumstances. This is not inactivity. This is not running away. Okay. Running away will cause negative reactions. If you run away from your responsibility, from your duty, that will give you negative reactions. But a self-realized person is working or not working by the will of Krishna. He's just satisfying the will of Krishna in both situations. So he does not get any negative reactions in both conditions. He's free of any reactions because he's satisfying Krishna through both, whether work or not work. So please understand this difference between a self-realized soul versus an ordinary person. Okay, our reason for working is attachments, for maintenance of body, family, for enjoyments, for work itself, or for results. But self-realized person always works just for Krishna, so he does not get any reactions. Let's read one more. These 17, 18, 19, they go together, and then Krishna will give some examples. Tasmadasakta satatam Tasmadasakta satatam karyam karma samachara
Karyam
Karyam
karma
karma
samachara.
samachara.
asakto hi acharan karma
Asakto
Asakto
hi
hi
acharan
acharan
karma.
karma.
param apnoti purusha.
Param
Param
apnoti.
apnoti
Purusha.
purusha.
Can somebody read this?
Yes, I can read.
Yes.
Purport. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. This is the translation. Next purport. Should I continue?
Yeah,
Should I
let me just
continue?
show the Sanskrit very quick. So asakta means without being attached. So satatam means always work without being attached. Karyam karma samachara, do all your karya, all your action in this way, by in detached way. Asakto hi acharan karma, by working without attachment, param apnoti purusha. So you will attain the supreme destination or supreme person. Param here refers to supreme person or supreme destination. So in this way, if you keep working, then you will achieve ultimate destination. So now again, Krishna is talking about the principle of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Last time we talked about this principle in 3.9, and now in 19 also, he's talking about the principle of Nishkam Karma Yoga, where one is not attached to the fruits of the activities. Okay. Okay, please, yes, go ahead.
Purport. The Supreme is the personality of Godhead for the devotees and liberation for impersonalists. A person who therefore acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance and without attachment to the result of the work is certainly making progress toward the supreme goal of life. Arjuna is told that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra for the interest of Krishna because Krishna wanted him to fight. To be a good man or non-violent man is a personal attachment, but to act on behalf of Supreme is to act without attachment for the results. That is the perfect action of the highest degree, recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Should I continue?
Yes, please finish it off.
Vedic rituals like prescribed sacrifices are performed for purification of impious activities that were performed in the field of sense gratification. But action in Krishna consciousness is transcendental to the reactions of good or evil work. A Krishna conscious person has no attachment for the result, but acts on behalf of Krishna alone. He engages in all kinds of activities, but is completely non-attached. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so purport is very self-explanatory. I don't have anything to add here. The only point I want to bring to your attention is this line: Vedic rituals, like prescribed sacrifices, are performed for the purification of impious activities. Impious activity means an activity that is performed for sense gratification, where one is attached to the result. So basically, it's meant for karma-kandi people, people that are attached to the results. So those people need to do these Vedic rituals. But if you are a Nishkam Karma Yogi, you don't need to do these Vedic rituals. Okay, then you should just struggle to work for Krishna's satisfaction. Okay, before we move forward, Krishna will now give examples that will really hit it home for you. But let's take some terminology so that everybody is on the same page. Okay, I'm going to share my whiteboard here. I know that it's difficult to read what I write here, but I hope this helps some. If it doesn't, let me know. If it's hard to understand this way, then let me know, but I'll try. So let's take some terminologies here, okay? So there is one terminology is Sakam Karma, okay? Sakam Karma. Another terminology is Nishkam Karma Yoga, or also known as Karma Yoga. Like this chapter is Nishkam Karma, or this chapter is Karma Yoga, or you can say Nishkam Karma Yoga. Okay, same thing. Karma Yoga or Nishkam Karma is the same thing. Okay. The third, let's just, for the sake of discussion, is Bhakti Yoga. Okay, Bhakti Yoga. I saw that last time, I think we were getting confused between these three terms. So what is the difference? In Sakam Karma, a person is doing work and they're attached to the results of that work. Okay, this is easy to understand. They're attached to the results of their work. They care a lot about money, position, whatever facilities, resources they get by doing that action. Okay, whatever. And work refers to any action or any responsibility that you have been given. So that work, they're very attached to the results. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to be a professional. You could be a homemaker, like a housewife, or any type of action that you're doing, any type of responsibility that you have been given. That work, when you're doing with attachment to the results, then that is Sakam Karma. Okay, this will generate reactions. This will generate some reactions. Okay, you will get the results of good or bad karma. Nishkam Karma Yoga is what this chapter is about. This is what Krishna was talking about in the verse 3.9, the memory verse, and now also in 3.19 that we just read. Krishna talked about Nishkam Karma Yoga. Here, the person is not attached to the results. Okay, he's not attached to the results. What is the Nishkam Karma Yogi attached to? He's attached to something. What is he attached to? He's not attached to results. Okay, so he will not get any reaction. What is he attached to? Who can tell me? Based on our previous discussions.
Satisfaction of
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Um,
To the work itself.
To the work. He's not attached to the results, but he's attached to the work itself. So he cares what work is being given to him. He is going to do the work that will that is according to his inclination, his tendencies, that suits him, that is comfortable for him. Okay. So that he has chosen his work. Okay, that work he will do, but he will offer the results to Krishna. So he is not attached to the results, but he's attached to work. Now, Bhakti, and I'll give example for these. Bhakti Yoga person definitely not attached to results. We agree? Right? He's not attached to results. And this is in ascending order. This is in ascending order. Okay. So he's not attached to results. Is he attached to work or no?
No.
No. He's not attached to what work he's given. What is he attached to? This is what Mataji
For the
answered.
pleasure of Krishna's.
Yes. He is only attached to the satisfaction of Supreme. He only wants to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Okay. This is what he's attached to. So this is Bhakti Yoga. Okay. These are the 3 levels. I just want, like, again, I just kind of want to make these terminologies very clear. So when we read them, there is no confusion. Let's take example. Now, Sakam Karma, we are not even talking about. This is not something we are interested in, where one is attached to result. This is not what this chapter is about. Okay. Which one is this chapter about? Out of
Nishkam.
Yes, it is about Nishkam Karma Yoga. This chapter is talking about this principle. Okay. So that's why Krishna keeps talking about not attached to the results. But he also keeps bringing in satisfy the Supreme. Okay. Which means now here,
Bhakti.
this is Bhakti. This can also be called as Yajna. Krishna said that this type of work is Yajna, where you offer all your results to me, where you are attached to the work, but you're not attached to the result. So you're offering that type of work to me. So this makes it a Yajna. Okay, this also makes it a yoga. Okay, let's take an example. Let's say somebody comes to your home, a guest comes to your home. Okay, you have, let's say, gulab jamun in your fridge. Okay, you serve him that gulab jamun because you already had it. That is an example of Nishkam Karma Yoga, which means you were already inclined to do some kind of work. You already had it. You already had that skill set, that training, that inclination, that tendency, but you just gave the results to the Supreme. So you already had the gulab jamun, okay? But you offered that to the guest. So that's like Nishkam Karma Yoga. You don't care whether the guest likes it or not. Whether it's his favorite dish or not, you gave it to the guest. So you offered the results, but you are attached to what you are giving him. You decided what you're going to give him. In Bhakti Yoga, when the guest comes to your home, you are making the thing that he likes. You know that he does not like gulab jamun. He likes besan ka laddu. So you made besan laddu and you offered that for him. Okay. You did not care about besan ka laddu. So you were neither attached to the work and you offered it to him. So you were not attached to the results, right? You made it only for his satisfaction. So that makes it an act of love or bhakti yoga. Okay. So basically in Nishkam Karma Yoga, I'm trying to, let's say, I'm hoping these points are clear so that I can write more here. Just
But
keep them.
Mataji, in Bhakti Yoga, we are also concerned about the result, isn't it? Because we made it to the satisfaction of the Lord. So we are inclined for his result, like to have his grace, blessing, or the just love of the Krishna. So isn't it the result we are expecting?
That result is desired, Mataji. That result is not material result. So always think
Okay.
about this. When we talk about result, reasons, when purpose, when we use these words, that's why I was saying before, when Krishna is saying no purpose, no result, no attachments, things like that, we always talk about material. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let's say when we say be detached, we are not saying be detached from Krishna, right?
Right.
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 So
Okay.
we're not talking about spiritual attachments or spiritual results or those are okay. We are talking about material results. Okay.
Get it, Mataji.
So I hope that in the Nishkam Karma Yoga, the person did work according to his own inclination. In Bhakti Yoga, right from the start of work, when he started making the besan ka laddu, his intention was to please Krishna. So even the work itself was done not as for his own attachment, but as an attachment to Supreme, as a satisfaction of Supreme. So he got all the ingredients, spent all the money, got all the ghee, put in all the effort for the pleasure of his guest, right? So he made something completely separate, even though he was not attached to that thing. So that is Bhakti Yoga. In Nishkam Karma Yoga, so basically the definition of Nishkam Karma Yoga is you are working you're working with detachment. Okay, detachment is the key word. You're working with detachment. Detachment is the word. Working with detachment. Or basically as a sense of duty. जैसे कि कोई मेरे घर आया, it is my duty, it is my responsibility to feed them something. So I gave them whatever I had in my fridge. I gave them gulab jamun. So we are working as a duty, as a responsibility, or with detachment. Okay. In Bhakti Yoga, you are working with devotion. Okay. Working with devotion. You're working with attachment to Supreme, working with love. So here, love is in the center, devotion or satisfaction of Supreme is in the center. In Nishkam Karma Yoga, work is in the center. The person is still attached to the work. So work is in the center. Here, love is in the center. So working with devotion versus working with detachment. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Can I give a day-to-day example from our year regular? It's like
Yes.
something. It's like saying that I will do kirtan only, but I will not do. But maybe some service is needed in the kitchen. So I'm saying no. I will do kirtan only because I like kirtan, but I will not work in the kitchen. But that is what is required for Krishna's service. So
Yeah.
that's like being attached to the work.
Right. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, if you are attached to a particular work, that means Nishkam Karma Yoga. But if you do whatever is needed to satisfy the Supreme, and since we don't know the will of the Supreme, we go by the will of the devotees, right? So you do whatever is required by the devotees. So that is Bhakti Yoga. So this is the key differences. And again, remember that when we say detachment, the word detachment refers to anything material, not anything spiritual. Okay. Uh, there is a very famous statement. It goes like this: we should not, in the name of detachment, we do not become irresponsible. Okay. In the name of detachment, do not become irresponsible. Okay. So what Arjun was trying to do is, Arjun was getting confused between detachment and responsibility. He thought that if I'm running away from this war, then that's like detachment. No, if you are irresponsible, that's not detachment. Okay, if you're being irresponsible, that will give you negative karma. Okay, so in the name of detachment, one should not become irresponsible. Okay, and the flip side is also that in the name of responsibility, sometimes people say, I have so many responsibilities. I have to take care of my family. I have to take care of this and that and whatnot. In the name of responsibility, do not become too attached. So be careful of these loopholes, okay? I'm just taking you on a little tangent here, but these are the things that happen in the world, that in the name of detachment, some people become irresponsible. So this is basically taking premature sannyas, prematurely giving up the duties or responsibilities that you were given. Okay, this is what some this is called being pretender, being charlatan, that you're trying to act like a detached person, but actually you're acting irresponsibly. And this is a trait of a karm kandi or an attached person who, in the name of responsibility, that I'm fulfilling my responsibility, becomes very attached to what they are doing, to the results or to the action. So we have to have a very balanced approach. We have to know. Uh, that's why work is important. That's why Krishna says at your stage right now, Nishkam Karma Yoga is needed. Okay. Now, of course, Prabhupada keeps talking about Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness. And I will come to that later. But let's go on with the. I will discuss about devotees also. We'll discuss that in a little bit. This is just some terminologies I wanted to clarify. Let's take next few verses because Krishna will give example. So Krishna was talking in last 3 verses about self-realized people who are detached, who have already perfected Nishkam Karma Yoga. They can give up work because they are situated in a very pure consciousness. They have very perfect knowledge of their relationship with the Lord. They can give up work because they are neither attached to the results nor to the work. They are okay to give up work. Okay. So let's see who those people are, and let's take some example. 3.20. Karmanewa hi samsiddhim. Karmanewa hi samsiddhim. Astita janakadaya. Astita
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 janakadaya.
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 Lokasangraham evapi.
Lokasangraham
Lokasangraham
evapi
evapi
Sampashyan kartumarhasi.
sampashyam
sampashyan
kartum arhasi.
kartumarhasi.
Okay, can somebody read this?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
Kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work.
Okay, let me just take the Sanskrit very quick. So karmaneva hi samsiddhim, just by working, by following this nishkam karma yoga, Asthita Janakadaya, Janak Adi, Janak. So King Janak, Maharaj Janak's example is given. Remember that Maharaj Janak is the father of Mother Sita, king of Mithila. So he and people like him, like many other Raj Rishis or kings, have worked in this way and attained some siddhi or perfection. And why do they do this? Lok Sangraham Evapi. Also for Lok Sangraham. Lok Sangraham means to set an example for the general masses, for the ordinary people. To set an example, they keep working. Sampashyam kartum arhasi. So you should also work like that. So basically, Krishna is telling Arjun that self-realized people are okay to not work. But still, some self-realized people like Janakadi, a great self-realized souls, still keep on working to set example for ordinary people, for their citizens, for the rest of the kingdom, people that follow them, to set an example for them, they keep working. So Krishna is indirectly telling Arjun, for you, I think it's important to work in Nishkam Karma Yoga. But even if you think you are ready to be a renunciate, you are a very pure person, even then you should work to set an example like Janak Maharaj did. So Mataji, can you read the purport?
Ji Mataji. Kings like Janaka were all self-realized souls. Consequently, they had no obligation to perform their prescribed duties in the Vedas. Nonetheless, they performed all prescribed activities just to set example for the people in general. Janaka was the father of Sita and father-in-law of Lord Sri Rama. Being a great devotee of the Lord, he was transcendently situated, but because he was the king of Mithila, a subdivision of Bihar province in India, he had to teach his subjects how to perform prescribed duties. Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal friend, had no need to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but they fought to teach people in general that violence is also necessary in a situation where good arguments fail. Before the Battle of Kurukshetra, every effort was made to avoid the war, even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the other party was determined to fight. Can you pull up Mataji, please? So, for as such a right cause, there is a necessity for fighting. Although one who is situated in Krishna consciousness may not have any interest in the world, he still works to teach the public how to live and how to act. Experienced persons in Krishna consciousness can act in such a way that others will follow, and this is explained in the following verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think this is very clear. Please know that in our scriptures, in Bhagavatam especially, there are 12 Mahajans mentioned. Okay. Anybody knows the names of the 12 Mahajans? Janak Maharaj is one of the Mahajans. And I think if you started guessing, you can guess all 12.
I can try.
Yes.
Bhishma Dev,
Mm-hmm.
Yamraj,
Yes.
Maharaj Bali,
Mm-hmm.
Maharaj Janak.
Yes.
Four. Then there is Kumaras.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Very good.
uh,
Vayambhu and Shambhu.
Aha. Very
Swambhu
good.
Manu. Yes. Shambhu.
Swambhu
Yes.
Manu and Shambhu Lord Shiva. Yes. Very
There was a
good.
time I made a mnemonic. I forgot the mnemonic now.
Others can also guess. Some may think of the great personalities.
Amrish Maharaj? No?
No, a great devotee, but he's not included in that list.
Okay, Mataji.
I'll show you the verse after this, the verse of Bhagavatam.
Okay.
So let's,
Prahlad Maharaj Mataji.
yes, Prahlad Maharaj. How about start from the top? Who's the Acharya for Sampradaya? Because we're going to talk
Narad
about
Muni.
Acharya. Who's the Acharya for Sampradaya?
Brahma.
Brahmaji. But Narad Muni is also correct. So
Yeah,
Brahmaji.
Narad Muni is also there, yes.
So who did you miss? Four Kumaras, did you mention?
Yes.
Kapila Muni,
Kapila,
Kapila Dev,
yes.
Kapila, and Shukdev Goswami, I think we didn't mention.
Shukdev Goswami is also one? Okay.
Yeah. So okay, Brahma, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Narad Muni, okay, Shukdev Goswami. You can think of some like Gyan Yogis, four Kumaras, Kapila, and then think of all the great Maharajas. I tend to cluster all the great Grahastas, like these great kings or Rajrishis together. So for example, Janak Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, or Bhishma, they can all come together. Yamraj. Yeah, I think you got all of them. So this is the verse Srimad Bhagavatam mentions. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu. Kapilo Manu. Manu refers to Swayambhu Manu. Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaya Sakir Vayam. द्वादशे ते विजानीमो धर्मं भागवतां भटा गुह्यं विशुद्धं दुर्बोधं यं ज्ञात्वामृतम् अश्नुते. So here Yamraj is speaking. So when he says vayam, meaning me or hum, मैं, जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना हम. So he's saying these 12 people know the dharma. They know the religious principles very well. So he says, Lord Brahma, Bhagwan Narad, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Swambhu Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principle. My dear servants, so Yamraj is right now speaking to Yamdutas. When he says servants, he's speaking to Yamdutas. This transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavad Dharma. Remember, Bhagavad Dharma basically means Bhakti Yoga, or the topmost dharma for mankind. Okay. So, meaning surrender unto the Supreme Lord, love for him. Okay. So different names for Bhagavad Dharma is love for Lord or surrender unto the Supreme Lord. This is known to these 12 Mahajans. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle known as Bhagavad Dharma is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature, meaning it is transcendental. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated, and thus he returns home back to Godhead. So Lord Yamraj is basically explaining this Bhagavad Dharma to Yamdutas, and he's saying that these 12 people, including myself, know this Bhagavad Dharma very intimately, very nicely. There is another verse that comes in Mahabharata, very, very famous verse, which talks about, which is quoted by Yudhishthir Maharaj, and Yudhishthir Maharaj says, Mahajano yen gata sapantha, okay, which means, okay, maybe I can pull that up also. That one was spoken by, it was quoted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Can somebody tell me?
Krishna himself.
Yes. When did he come?
500 years ago.
Right. So
in Kali
Krishna,
Yuga.
right. So in Kali Yuga, when Krishna came in the form of a devotee, okay, so that that form of the Lord, when he accepted sannyas, he became a renunciate himself, okay. He accepted this renunciation, this practice of preaching, and he established the Bhagavad Dharma all over the country and now all over the world. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna, he quoted this verse. He said, Mahajano yen gata sapantha, that we should follow in the footsteps of great personalities. Okay. And you can see that as Krishna, when he was giving Updesh to Arjun, he's quoting one of the Mahajans, Janak Maharaj. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or what did he say? He was quoting Yudhishthir Maharaj by saying, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. All this is, you don't have to worry about all this. Basically saying, by studying the Vedas, by dry arguments which are inconclusive, one cannot find out the highest religious principles, cannot be understood. Okay. And you just saw that Yamraj also said the same thing, that the highest religious principle, the highest Bhagavad Dharma can be understood only by Mahajans. So he said, the solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. I really like this line. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. So these are the Mahajans, basically. We should follow in the footsteps of Mahajans. We can also call them in our day-to-day life, we call them Acharyas. Okay. These Acharyas show the religious path. This religious path, this Bhagavad Dharma is hidden in their hearts. And these acharyas are around us everywhere. We just have to seek them and take their shelter and hear from them submissively, and we can understand this Bhagavad Dharma. So who are the acharyas? Our foremost acharya is, of course, Krishna himself, and then Brahmaji, Narad Muni, and Madhvacharya, okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all his disciples like the Goswamis, okay, various Vaishnavacharyas that came after that, and then of course Prabhupada, the preeminent founder acharya of our institution. And then of course after Prabhupada, all his disciples who are right now acting as they are in the form of gurus, in the form of spiritual masters. These are all our acharyas. So we should study their lives. Actually, we should study the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The beauty of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life is, please hear this very carefully. Krishna gave all this knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Krishna gave all this knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. But Acharya is somebody who shows by their action. Krishna did not show anything by his action. He did not, Abhi Krishna will say in next few verses that I'm setting example myself. But still, he did not show with his examples the Bhagavad Dharma. Okay. He did not show the highest religious principle. Okay. So he came in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish the highest truth, the highest religious principles of Bhagavad Dharma. And in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did everything that he taught in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, he showed what detachment is, what knowledge is, what complete surrender to the Supreme Lord is, what perfect etiquettes are, what is the best culture of knowledge. Culture of knowledge will come in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. What culture of knowledge means. What does pure consciousness means? How to live your life, how to live your life. Everything he showed with his conduct, with his acharan. And so so that's why we should study Chaitanya Charitamrita, because all that acharan, when becomes clear to us, we can adopt that in our life. That's why we should study Leelamrit, Prabhupada's life. We should study the lives of great Vaishnavacharyas, because when we study their life, we automatically imbibe that proper mood of devotional service, the Bhagavad Dharma, the proper mood of surrender and submissiveness and shelter to the Lord. So all these, the lives of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, all these, we should study their lives. We should glorify their pastimes, and even the current gurus also. That's what I was saying last time. Somebody wanted to know about me. I'm like, that's not worth anything. You should study the lives of these great acharyas, and you will see how they conduct themselves. So next verse will hit it home for you, why Krishna is quoting Janak Maharaj. So Krishna is saying that he does not have anything to do in this world, but to set an example for his people, he is working. Let's read. This is another memory verse coming up. Very important verse, very, very important verse, 3.21. Yad yad acharti shreshthas, yad yad
acharti shreshthas,
tattad eva te rojana, tattad eva
eva te rojana,
sa yad pramanam kurute,
Yad
Sayat
Sat
pramanam kurute.
Paramanam kurute.
Lokastad anuvartate.
Lokastad
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 Vartate.
anuvartate.
Let's do it couple more times. Again, memory verse. So far, many have come, but 3.9, 3.13, and now this 3.21. Please mark these 9, 13, and 21.
So the meaning of this is very similar to the other one, right? The the Mahajano.
Yes, that's why I quoted that, because that's what the concept is now coming. So now the concept that is starting is lead by example, how one should live an exemplary life, okay? How one should conduct ourselves in such a way that people are inspired to become devotees looking at our conduct, or inspired to work in the way that we work, inspired to accept this culture of knowledge that has been given to us. So basically, okay, let's recite it, but quickly looking at the Sanskrit. Yad yad means jaise jaise. Acharati shreshtas. Shreshta means the topmost people, okay? Respectable people, the best people. Acharati shreshtas. However, or whatever way, the shresht people, the topmost people act. Acharan means to act, to conduct themselves. Tat tad evatero jana. That's how jana means ordinary people. That's how the ordinary people will also act. Okay, tad tad evatero jana. So they will, jaise top people will act, वैसे ordinary people will also follow. Sa yat pramanam kurute. So praman means evidence, right? Praman means evidence or example. So whatever example such people set, lokas tad anuvartate. Loka again means like general masses, ordinary people. Lokas tad anuvartate means they will follow in the footstep. Anu means to follow. So they will follow in the footsteps of these great people. However, a great person conducts himself, that way ordinary people will conduct. Whatever example these people set, that's how ordinary masses will follow. So let's recite it a couple more times. Yad yad acharati shreshtas. Yad
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 Yadyat
acharati
acharati
shreshthas.
shreshtas.
tat tad evatero jana. Tat tad
Tattad
evatero
evatero
jana.
Evataro
jana.
janam.
Sa yat pramanam kurute.
Sayat
Sayat
pramanam
pramanam kurute.
kurute.
Lokastad anuvartate. Lokastad
Lokastad
Lokastat
anuvartate.
anuvartate.
Once more, let's do it together. Yad yad.
Yad
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 Yat
yad
acharati
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 shreshtas.
tat
shreshtas.
tad
Tattad
evatero
evatero
jana.
Evataro
jana.
Sayat
jana.
Sayat
pramanam
Sayat
pramanam
kurute.
pramanam
kurute.
kurute.
Lokastad
Lokastad
Lokastat
anuvartate.
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 Okay. Can somebody read this verse? The translation in purple.
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standard he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Purpose. People in general always require a great leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called Acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The revealed scriptures, like Manu Samhita and similar others, are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leader's teaching should be based on the principles of such standard shastras. One who desires to improve himself must follow the standard rules as they are practiced by the great teachers. The Srimad Bhagavatam also affirms that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, and that is the way of progress on the path of spiritual realization. the king or the executive head of a state, the father, and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with standard books of moral and spiritual codes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think pretty self-explanatory. Prabhupada is giving the definition of acharya. So somebody who shows with their acharan. Okay. We discussed some examples of acharyas, starting from Krishna, Narad Muni, Brahmaji, Madhvacharya, all these Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada is also saying that these people should teach from the scriptures. They should set religious principles as revealed in the scriptures. They should not concoct anything. They should not use any speculations or come up with any manufactured principles, okay, to serve their own purpose. That's not how a teacher works. Teacher teaches what has been taught to him by somebody more senior to him before, right? So he follows in the footsteps of great devotees and then he passes that knowledge, disciplic succession. Then Prabhupada is also quoting this verse that we just discussed, that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees or Mahajans. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there come many verses. One was said by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Again, remember that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna. He said when he was when he accepted this role as a devotee, Krishna, when he accepted this role of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or of a devotee, he said, this is what the verse he said, Apani karimu bhakta bhava angikare, apani achara bhakti sikhaimu sabare. So he said, I shall accept the role of a devotee. Apani karimu bhakti. I will accept the role of a devotee. I shall teach the devotional service by practicing it myself. Okay. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, when Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this was his purpose, that I have talked so much about, surrender in Bhagavad Gita, about proper etiquette and conduct and achar and whatnot, the things that I expect from people. But now I have to set a precedent, because a great teacher, Krishna is a great teacher. Krishna is teaching so many things to Arjun here. But a teacher has to set an example. So in order to set an example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I shall accept the role of a devotee. By my own devotional service, I will show how to be a devotee, how to be a great devotee. Apni karimu bhakta, bhava angikare. I will accept the role of a devotee and devotional service. Apni achari bhakti, by my own practice of devotional service. Sikhaimu sabare. I will teach to all the people how devotional service should be practiced. And then later on, at some point, Sanatan Goswami and Haridas Thakur were talking, okay? They were in Jagannath Puri, and Sanatan Goswami was glorifying Haridas Thakur. Remember, Haridas Thakur is the Naam Acharya who used to chant 196 rounds daily, okay? So Sanatan Goswami was encouraging Haridas Thakur to preach. He said, you are such a perfect, your acharan, your conduct is so perfect. Somebody like you who has such a perfect conduct should teach, should preach this act of devotional service, this cult of Krishna consciousness. He should teach. There are people in this world who are preaching who do not have proper conduct, and there are people like you who have the proper conduct and are not preaching. It does not make any sense. So Sanatan Goswami said, Apne achare keha na kare prachar, prachar kare na keha na kare achar. So he said, some people behave well, okay, but do not preach. So like you, basically he's saying to Haridas Thakur, there are people like you who behave well but do not preach. Whereas others preach but do not behave well. Prachar kare na kahe, na kare achar. So prachar kar rahe hain, but there is no achar. Whereas you have the achar but not doing prachar. So person who has the achar should do the prachar. Okay, that is the ideal teacher. So Prabhupada is giving this definition of an acharya, and also he's extending this definition to not only just the acharyas, just the spiritual teachers or spiritual leaders, but he's also extending it to the other responsible people of the society. For example, the king is a leader, okay? In fact, in our society, there are so many leaders. There are celebrities that are leaders. And then Prabhupada is saying there are natural leaders of the societies, like executive heads of the states, or even parents, you know, school teachers. They're all actually natural leaders. Because for that person, for your child, you are the natural leader. For your student, you are the leader. For your kingdom, if you're a king, or for your state, if you're an executive head, you are the leader. So if you're a mayor, a governor, a king, an executive head, or a parent, everybody's a parent. Or if you are even, you know, any kind of leadership position, everybody's almost a leader. There is somebody that's following someone, right? Everybody's being followed by someone. So everybody's actually a leader. And a leader, if he sets proper example, then common men will follow. Okay, whatever he does, other people will follow. So you have to set the right example. And he gave the example of Janak Maharaj before, and now he will give his own example. Okay, he'll say, Krishna will give his own example, how I also work, even though there is no work needs to be done by me. Okay, so Krishna is basically encouraging Arjun that even if you are as pure as me or as Janak Maharaj, a self-realized soul, even if you have become a Raj Rishi, a very transcendental, you're on a transcendental platform, okay, even then you should work to set an example for the common people, because otherwise common people, in the name of detachment, will start becoming. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, I thought my connection became unstable. So common people, they will become irresponsible in the name of detachment, right? That makes sense, right? A self-realized person is qualified to be detached, but ordinary people are not detached. So they will say, oh, he does not work, so I will also not work. But common people are just being, remember the difference between detachment versus irresponsibility that I talked about before. So in the name of detachment, common people will start acting irresponsibly. They are not qualified to be detached. They're not detached yet, but they will start running away from their work. They will start shirking their duty, their responsibility, because they are following some leader. वो भी काम नहीं करता, तो मैं भी क्यों करूं? But they don't know that he's on a very high platform. He's qualified, he's fit to give up work. He's very detached, very knowledgeable. You're not there yet. So it is the responsibility of a elevated person to set an example for people, for his followers, so that they do not become irresponsible in the name of detachment. That's why I mentioned that point before. Let's read these next 2-3 will go together, so we can finish these if we. Let's do at least a couple more. Name parthasti kartavyam. Name
Ame
parthasti
partasti
kartavyam.
kartavyam.
Trishu lokeshu kinchana. Trishu
Trishu
lokeshu
lokeshu
Esha
kinchana.
kinchana
nanavaptam avaptavyam.
nanavaptam
Nanavaptam
avaptam
avaptavyam.
Varta eva cha karmani.
varta eva cha
Vartayeva cha
karmani.
karmani.
I think this one we'll skip the purport. I'll tell you why. And just read the translation. Let's read next 3 verses, key translation, and some selected portions of the purport. Can somebody read this translation?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mat.
O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the 3 planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I need to obtain anything. Yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let's look at Sanskrit very quick. So he's saying, Na me parthasti kartavyam. Asti kartavyam means I do not have any prescribed duty to perform. Okay. Krishna, as Supreme Lord, he's the supreme controller, maintainer, cause of all causes, Param Purushottam Bhagwan. He does not have any duty. Okay. Trishu lokeshu kinchana. Kinchana means koi bhi, like nothing. I have no duty to perform in the 3 worlds. Nana vaptavyam. Nana vaptavyam means I do not want anything, right? Krishna does not need anything or want anything. Avaptavyam. Nothing is to be gained. for me. Like it's not like I can get something. They say when we work, we get something, but there is nothing to be gained by him. Everything belongs to him already. So what, he cannot gain anything more because already it's everything belongs to him. So nothing is to be gained by me. Nothing is wanted by me. He does not want anything. He's completely, a self-situated Atmaram. So I do not need anything. I do not want anything. Nothing can be gained by me. Varta eva cha karmani. Yet I engage in prescribed duties. Varta eva cha karmani means yet I am doing some prescribed duties. We will not read the purport. The reason in this, and you can read this on your own. Prabhupada has talked about the how Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He's talked about how Krishna is the supreme controller. I'll just show you the keywords here. He's the controller of all. Why he does not need to work? Because he's controller of all other controllers. He is the Ishwar of all Ishwaras, meaning he's Maheshwar. Ishwar को English में बोलते हैं controller, but he is controller of all controllers. So he's Maheshwara. Okay. He is also worshipable by all demigods. Okay. He's supreme director of all directors. He's transcendental to everything. He's the supreme cause of all causes. There is no one greater than him. His body is not ordinary. With one sense, he can do the function of other senses, okay, which nobody else can do. He has multifarious potencies or energies, okay. He is in full opulence. He has all the opulences, unlimited energies, unlimited opulences. He's existing in full truth. We know that he's absolute truth, right? So for such a transcendental supreme lord, supreme controller, Maheshwar, there is no duty to be performed. Okay. He receives the work of the results of other people. He does not have to do any work himself. Okay. He has nothing to achieve. He has nothing to prove. He has nothing to accomplish. Yet he just does some work, prescribed duty when he comes, when he descends to set an example. So when he was on this, doing his leelas in this material world, he was, getting up in the morning, doing all the various ritualistic ceremonies of the Vedas. He had accepted a guru. Sandeepi Muni was his guru. He had accepted education, even though he's completely knowledgeable. He's a source of all knowledge in the world. Yet he's accepting a guru. So many things he does to set an example, even though there is nothing to be gained by him. So that's why I think we can skip this, because this Krishna, Prabhupada is talking about Krishna's supremacy, and that's why he does not need to do anything. He cannot be compared to ordinary people, yet he brings himself to that platform, so to just set a right example for the ordinary people. And then he will say, if I don't work, what will happen? So let's read these two together and then we'll stop. Yadi hi aham na varteyam. Yadi hi aham na varteyam. Jatu karmani atandrita. Jatu karmani atandrita. Mam vartamanu vartante.
Mam vartamanu vartante.
Manushya partha sarvasha.
Manushya partha sarvasha.
Let's quickly recite the next one also and read them together. Utsidyor ime loka.
Utsidyor ime loka.
Na kuryam karma chedaham.
Na kuryam karma chedaham.
Sankrasya cha kartasyam.
Sankarasya cha kartasyam.
Upahanyam ima praja.
Upahanyam ima praja.
Can somebody read the translation for both of these?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
Translation: For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. Purport.
Hold on, let's read next one.
Okay. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would therefore destroy the peace of all living beings.
Okay. So, Mataji, give me 1 second, then you can continue.
Sure.
So, Krishna is saying in these two verses that even though there is nothing for me to be done, I have no work to do, I do not want anything, nothing can be gained by me, yet I work. Why? Because if I fail to engage in performing prescribed duties, then all men would follow my path, right? So we understand from Yad Yada Charti Shreshtas, all men would follow his path. And then he says, if I did not perform these duties, all the world would be put to ruination. So how would world be put to ruination? Prabhupada will explain that basically people will whimsically start giving up work. This will cause a lot of disturbance in the society, lot of social disturbance. People will, without any purpose, without any goal, no contribution to economic development, taking up illegal, illicit activities, right? Because soul has a nature to act and they just gave up their work. So now they're doing illicit activities, and that will lead to unwanted population, and thereby it will destroy the peace of all living beings. So work is needed to run this world basically. And if I do not set an example for working, then then it will cause ruination of this world, because action is needed, karma is needed to maintain body and soul together, to run this world, to perform yagyas, to please demigods, for the running of this cosmic maintenance, all those things that Krishna mentioned before. That's why work is needed. So great people like Krishna and Janak Maharaj, they set an example by engaging in their prescribed duties. Yes, Mataji, please read the purport.
Anji Mataji, in order to keep the balance of social tranquility for progress in spiritual life, there are traditional family usages meant for every civilized man. Although such rules and regulations are for the conditioned soul and not Lord Krishna, because he descended to establish the principles of religion, he followed the prescribed rules. Otherwise, common man would follow in his footsteps because he is the greatest authority. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is understood that Lord Krishna was performing all the religious duties at home and out of home as required of a householder. Hari Bol.
Very good. So we should follow, people will follow in his footsteps because he is the greatest authority. And Srimad Bhagavatam, where all the pastimes of Krishna comes, you will see that he was performing all the religious duties at home and outside of home also. Mataji, you want to continue reading at least one paragraph, and then somebody else can read the next paragraph?
Sure, Mataji. Purport. Varna Sanskara is unwanted population which disturbs the peace of the general society. In order to check this social disturbance, there are prescribed rules and regulations by which the population can automatically become peaceful and organized for spiritual progress in life. When Lord Krishna descends, naturally he deals with such rules and regulations in order to maintain the prestige and necessity of such important performances. The Lord is the father of all living entities, and if the living entities are misguided, indirectly the responsibility goes to the Lord. Therefore, whenever there is a general disregard of regulative principles, the Lord Himself descends and corrects the society. We should, however, note carefully that although we have to follow in the footsteps of the Lord, we still have to remember that we cannot imitate Him. Following and limiting are not on the imitating, yes, following and imitating are not on the same level. We cannot imitate the Lord by lifting Govardhan Hill as the Lord did in his childhood. It is impossible for any human being. We have to follow his instructions, but we may not imitate him at any time. The Srimad Bhagavatam.
You can skip the verse, Mataji, just read this translation.
One should simply follow the instructions of the Lord and His empowered servants. Their instructions are all good for us, and any intelligent person will perform them as instructed. However, one should guard against trying to imitate their actions. One should not try to drink the ocean of poison in imitation of Lord Shiva.
Somebody, anyone else wants to read the second paragraph?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. We should always consider the position of Ishvaras, or those who can actually control the movement of sun and moon, as superior. Without such power, one cannot imitate Ishvaras, who are super powerful. Lord Shiva drank poison to the extent of swallowing an ocean. But if any common man tries to drink even a fragment of such poison, he will be killed. There are many pseudo devotees of Lord Shiva who want to indulge in smoking ganjas and similar intoxicating drugs, forgetting that by so imitating the act of Lord Shiva, they are calling death very near. Similarly, there are some pseudo devotees of Lord Krishna who prefer to imitate the Lord in his Rasa Leela or dance of love, forgetting their inability to lift Govardhan hill. It is best, therefore, that one not try to imitate the powerful, but simply follow their instructions. Nor should one try to occupy their post without qualification. There are so many incarnations of God without the power of Supreme Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna said that if I did not perform duties, then other people will follow, and that will lead to ruination, disturbance, destroy the peace, unwanted population. This word has come before in first chapter, Varna Sankara. Basically, illicit progeny will come because people will be engaging in these illicit sexual affairs with each other and without any purpose, without any aim, goal in life. They will be just running amok and doing whatever illicit activities they want. So this will cause disturbance. In purport, Prabhupada has over and over highlighted this one point that that one should follow the instructions and teachings of Lord and other great personalities like Lord Shiva and even Vaishnavas. Same thing. We should follow their teachings and instructions. We should not try to imitate them because following and imitating are not on the same level. Okay, because remember they are on a different platform. Lord, we understand, is supremely powerful, supremely knowledgeable, cause of all causes. He's transcendental. Similarly, his followers like Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva, demigods, they are also on a different platform. They are very advanced, very knowledgeable, very detached. So we should accept their teachings and instructions, not imitate them superficially. Okay, so what people do is in this world, people disregard the instructions or teachings of these great personalities, but just try to imitate their actions. Okay, for example, they will, like Prabhupada has mentioned this action of because Shiva drank poison, so they think, okay, anything poisonous like ganja or these drugs or illicit substances can be consumed because we are Shiva's followers. So the dhatura and all these things they consume because we are Shiva's followers. But no, Shiva is on a transcendental platform. He can consume a wish. He can consume halal poison. You cannot do that because you will die. So your body cannot hold poison. Okay, your body is getting contaminated by doing what you're doing. His body is serving even when he's is drinking poison. It's in service. So don't do that, but follow the teachings and instructions. Okay, this brings me to a word very quickly. Two words come in our literature. One word is called anukaran, okay, and the other word is called anusaran. Anusaran. Okay? So anukaran means, these are very famous words. Please add it to your vocabulary. So anukaran means to imitate a person. That's why some people, what they will do is they will act Ras Leela. They will, dress up as Krishna and act and start dancing with other people's wives or something like that. There are people, pseudo incarnations, that try to act like Krishna by just imitating those type of actions. Okay. So Karan means karya karna. So they're imitating the actions of these great personalities or the Lord. This is not recommended. What is recommended for ordinary people is anusaran, to follow the teachings or the instructions of the Lord or his followers. Okay, teachings ko follow karna. Like, don't do what Krishna did in Vrindavan, like lifting Govardhan and entering into the mouth of a snake or stuff like that, or dancing with gopis. Okay, those are Krishna's leelas. Rather, follow his teachings that are given in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. One more point very quickly. So again, because you are devotees and you will be questioned this many, many times. So, okay, very quickly, Krishna is Leela Purushottam Bhagwan. Okay, Leela Purushottam means when he comes in his original form. Okay, as the supreme personality of Godhead, full of all opulences, all Aishwarya, no bars. Okay, everything completely out there. Okay, so he does a lot of leelas. He's Leela Purushottam. His leelas should not be imitated by ordinary people. These leelas are his loving exchanges with his intimate devotees. Okay, so Ras Leela, for example, they are loving exchanges with intimate devotees. These cannot be understood by ordinary people, even by devotees. Okay, they are very difficult to understand by even ordinary people. Okay. So these are very intimate, confidential exchanges. One has to become very qualified to be able to understand these leelas of the Lord. We try to understand, but we never try to judge them from our mundane, ordinary platform. So for us, what is instructed is to follow his teachings. The only thing we need to follow is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, that's where his teachings are concentrated, condensed. This is what we need to follow. For Lord Ram, it is said that he does not do leelas. He is a Maryada Purushottam Bhagwan. Maryada Purushottam Bhagwan means an ideal gentleman, a perfect perfect man that there can be. Okay, he's the perfect man. He's ideal. His conduct can be followed. So he's Maryada Purushottam. How to behave with your parents, how to behave with your wife, how to behave with your brother or with your teachers. He shows that because with your disciples, with your followers. Okay, he sets that highest bar of conduct so that we can follow. Okay. So not that we imitate, again, we're not imitating, but we can follow his conduct to certain extent because he's Maryada Purushottam. He sets example through his actions. Krishna gives his instructions through his teachings in Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, he's Leela Purushottam. This is his main. He's come here to attract people through his leelas. Okay. There are lessons in these leelas that we can get through the help of some devotees, through the help of advanced souls, but not just whimsically follow those leelas like dancing and stealing clothes and stealing from other people and stuff like that cannot just be followed in an ordinary mundane way. Those are 2 points I wanted to convey very quickly. One last point again for your understanding. Coming back to our original concept of Nishkam Karma Yoga. So we are devotees, we are sadhakas, okay? We are in very mixed consciousness, okay? They're in very mixed consciousness, but there are some very advanced devotees that are self-realized souls. They are very pure people. Let's say our spiritual masters, Guru Varga, they're very pure people, okay? So what is the reason for working for devotee? One reason is all the reasons that Krishna mentioned in the beginning of chapter 3. All the reasons he mentioned for working, that we have to maintain our body, we have to, so I'm talking about why one should work. Okay, why one should work. All the reasons that Krishna gave in chapter 3, to maintain body, to engage our soul, to purify our actions, for all those reasons, right? For able to do yagyas, cosmic maintenance, all those reasons we should do work. Another reason why devotees work is they try to engage in Nishkam Karma Yoga, okay? Meaning working without results. Working without results. In this portion, they struggle, okay? They struggle. Like, for example, take your example, my example. We struggle in this, but we try to work without results. And we try to do this for satisfaction of Krishna. So we also mix a little bit of Bhakti Yoga with this, okay? Nishkam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, working without results, and we struggle in this, okay? And we try not to be attached to work or the results either. Bhakti Yoga means not attached to work either. So we try to do these things. This portion we struggle. We are slowly cultivating this. Another reason devotees work is to set an example. Okay, set an example. This is the last thing that Krishna has talked about, setting an example. This is also why we work. Okay, so we work for some external reasons that Krishna mentioned before. We work for these higher goals of Nishkam Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And we also work to influence other people, to set an example for them. The self-realized soul, his main reason for working is maybe Krishna wants to engage him in something. So he works for satisfaction of Krishna, okay, only for the love of Krishna. And this reason that Krishna mentioned just now is to set an example for other people, also self-realized souls work. So they are not working for any external reason. They are not struggling with Nishkam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. They are in perfect Bhakti Yoga. Okay. And they're also setting an example when they're working. So this is the reason why people like us work and self-realized soul or pure people work. This is the last point I wanted to mention. Is this clear?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so we'll stop. Let's see who has any questions, or they want to summarize anything, takeaway points, or anything. Anything became clear? Anything became confusing?
I liked it, Mataji, the way you gave explanation on Nishkam and the Bhakti Yoga and gave us differences. Was not easy to understand because earlier I was confused.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji, for the whiteboard that helps us.
I'm still confused till this date. That's why I write. It helps me, and I hope that it helps. That's why I write. Writing helps. So that's why.
Yes, it helped me, Mataji. I don't know about others, but it helped me quite a lot.
And the reason I'm going into all this is because, you know, when you present Bhagavad Gita to other people, when you are like, let's say book distribution, or you're discussing with your family, or you're preaching to someone, these concepts should be crystal clear. What is Bhakti Yoga? What is Nishkam Karma Yoga? Because people will ask, so what is the difference between Bhakti Yoga and Nishkam Karma Yoga? Because Prabhupada often extrapolates them. He often switches because he's catering to two types of audience. One is ordinary people, but he's also teaching very much to the devotees that are his followers, that are already sadhakas. So it becomes confusing. What is the goal for general masses? What is the goal for people with mixed consciousness like us, who are in the middle? And then what is the goal, or what is the consciousness of high people, self-realized people? So 3 types of people, and many different types of yogas are there. And if we understand all these terminologies, all this nomenclature, it makes it easy to understand. So
Yes, Mataji.
anybody else wants to share anything? Rushank Prabhu, Hiral Mataji, Puja Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I really like the point that you're speaking about. In the name of detachment, we shouldn't be irresponsible. And vice versa, in the name of responsibility, we shouldn't get too much attached.
Right. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I really like that point too. Whatever I'm speaking, first of all, I'm conveying the gratitude to all the other seniors from whom I've heard all this. So we are very grateful to be in this institution where there are such great scholars. They have, you know, distilled this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita into very clear-cut concepts. So there is no confusion. If there is any confusion that may be created by me, maybe I'm not able to present properly, but otherwise the concepts of our ISKCON scholars, our acharyas are crystal clear, very, you know, everything is very clearly understood by them. Okay, Rekha Mata, Hiral Mataji and Puja Mataji or Nagarchan Prabhu, any more points to add?
Just Mataji, Hare Krishna, I would like to thank you for making this very clear again. This Mataji mentioned the Sakam, Nishkam, and Bhakti Yoga. You made very wonderful distinctions between the 3 of them, that what to consider in what. So I think we are in the middle of somewhere Nishkam and Bhakti Yoga, and very, very nice session today, also an enlightenment. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. I feel like sometimes I'm going into Sakam, sometimes Nishkam Karma Yoga, very rarely into Bhakti Yoga. So fluctuating between different, but as long as we are aware and we are fluctuating, that's okay. We're struggling. That's why I wrote that word, that we're struggling between Nishkam Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. But as long as we can kind of stay in this zone, then slowly it will keep getting purified, where it goes from Nishkam Karma Yoga to actually pure Bhakti Yoga.
Ji Mataji.
I also want to reassure all of you that first 6 chapters are hard, okay? Because all these terminology, this nomenclature, these new concepts, principles are being thrown at us. But when the 7th chapter starts, the concepts become clear because Bhakti Yoga starts. Bhakti Yoga is a matter of heart. So things will be very clear. All these other things are a little bit, last 6 chapters and first 6 chapters can be hard. But Bhakti Yoga is more clear. One of the points, Nagarjuna Prabhu, I think he's busy right now. He has made this point very many times before. So, we have come into this Krishna consciousness movement and we have started reading Bhagavatam. Maybe some are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita also, or Prabhupada's books. And Prabhupada talks about pure Bhakti Yoga, Bhagavad Dharma, the highest religious principle. So what happens is we have those concepts very clear to us. Okay, we know we should work for satisfaction of Krishna, for pleasure of Krishna, all these things. So our vocabulary has those concepts. So when we start reading these lower concepts of Bhagavad Gita, like the initial chapters of Sakam Karma, Nishkam Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, when we're reading these lower principles, okay, they're not the highest principle, they're lower, we keep inserting the Bhakti Yoga in these areas also, okay, because we have that vocabulary, we have that verbiage. Those terms are clear to us, okay? It's a matter of heart, so it becomes easily clear. So then we find this portion harder and we keep inserting that here. And that's why we keep getting muddled between Nishkam Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. In Nishkam Karma Yoga also we keep inserting satisfaction of Supreme. But that's what, but when you start preaching or when you start talking to regular people, it's important to keep those concepts of Bhakti Yoga a little bit separate and just try to understand these principles for what they are. Okay, so don't assume that you know, is what I'm trying to say. Don't assume that you already know. Every time, actually, when we go to a class, at least I try to do that. Every time we go to a class, keep your preconceived notions, your assumptions on the side. Even from what we have learned in Krishna consciousness movement, keep them on the side. Don't assume that I already know this. And you will see that suddenly you will start learning a lot more. If you go with preconceived notions, हाँ पता ही है कि भगवान के लिए काम करना है, सेवा में, all this, then nothing new will come in. Okay. So even within Krishna consciousness, when you go to a class, become a blank slate, become
Yes.
completely blank, completely empty.
Ji Mataji, this is how my notion is when I come for a class, that what's new to learn or what to learn today. That's my intention and notion, that what to learn today for the class or what more we can focus on or learn new thing about Krishna or by his actions or uplift our daily life through your teachings or instructions being a guru. So
Yes, that's I find too for myself also, because each speaker is also different. So sometimes you may a concept may be very clear to you, and maybe they're speaking the same concept, but the way they present, the examples they give, whatever, the analogy they use, whatever, may be so unique or so different that hits home harder. So just a little caution I wanted to convey to you all, that this happens. This is a very common problem that happens as a devotee, that we have these concepts very quickly given to us in Prabhupada's books and in Prabhupada's earlier purports. Already he has talked about Bhakti Yoga. So we quickly become very privy to these high principles. So sometimes lower principles or different principles are hard to grasp because we keep bringing those other things in. So just a little caution on that. Okay, I think we'll stop. If nobody else has anything else to share, we can stop. Thank you so much for joining. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। मांचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna.